Honourable Speaker, the ACDP understands that the fiscal framework and revenue proposal for 2020 gives effect to our macroeconomic policy and includes estimates of all revenue, expenditure, and of borrowing for that financial year, estimates of interest and debt servicing charges, and an indication of the contingency reserves necessary for an appropriate response to emergencies or other temporary needs, and other factors based on similar objective criteria. In 2020-21, revenue estimates projected to be 1.58 trillion, with the expenditure of 1.95 trillion, leaving us with a consolidated budget deficit of 370.5 billion, or some 6.8% of our GDP, and climbing. Our GDP for 2020-21 is estimated to be at some 5.4 trillion, and of great concern to the ACDP is that our gross national debt is projected to be at 3.56 trillion, or 65.6% of GDP by 2020-21. That being said, it is very clear that we are operating under a constrained financial environment. Our economy has entered into a technical recession after a poor performance in the fourth quarter of 2019 caused by Eskom outages. Real GDP is expected to grow by only 0.9% in 2020. Weak growth has translated to a record unemployment of 29.1% and climbing. There has been a downward revision of estimates of tax revenue of 63.3 billion. Over the 3 years, we are expected to see budget reductions of 261 billion, which includes a 160.2 billion reduction in the wage bill, 60 billion set aside for Eskom and SAA, another bailout at the expense of the taxpayer. Our fastest growing expenditure item is our debt service cost of some 229 billion interest alone. Clearly, our economy is in trouble. After years of looting and unparalleled corruption, with little or no consequence management, we are teetering at the edge of a junk status cliff. What is needed are more men and women with intestinal fortitude to stand against those intent on destroying our economy. Ethical men and women of integrity. We need a fit-for-purpose education system that will match the skills needed by business, and we need to reduce the barriers of entry to business, creating an environment which is conducive to the business sector. We must inculcate an environment of policy and political certainty and not threaten business with expropriation without compensation. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member.